Coach Hunt. Coach Hunt goes above and beyond for the team. Part 1. It was the first official day of practice of the year. The day when Coach Hunt himself would be taking charge of the team. As it was customary, until then Assistant Coach Mills had been preparing us for coach and running drills. Practice was always fun, but not on a Friday when there was a game on Saturday. While everyone was out having fun on a beautiful fall day, we were in the pool doing laps. Then to top it all, our reward would be the usual lecture about not going out at night, no drinking or partying so we can be our best for the match. The humidity in the indoor pool room was so high that the smell of chlorine impregnated everything. We did have the record for most Olympic swimmers that came out of our school, so we hoped it would all be worth it in the end. I was thinking that day that having practice on Friday did have a perk. We got to take the devil's plunge. I was deep in thought about it when Ron, the noob just arrived from some one-horse town in one of the square states, interrupted me. "Man, coach is a hard This session was no joke," he said, punching me in the arm. "That's Coach Hunt for you, but if you want to be the best," I said without bothering to finish my thought. I toweled my hair one more time, but it made little difference since the towel felt just as wet as the pool. We started walking together towards the locker room while I took another swig of my purple sports drink.
"You have 2 seasons on you so far, right?" he asked. I always seemed to be the one noobs would approach and try to be friends with. It was my gentle demeanor, or that's what I always told myself. Yeah, the plan is to win some gold and then sell endorsements and be on cereal boxes. You know, the usual, I told him, grinning, knowing that was always the plan for all of us. "No shit. Me too," he said, not realizing my sarcasm. "What about you? How are you settling in? All enrolled and paperwork out of the way?" I responded in an attempt to change the topic. "Yeah, I think so. I never knew it was all so different," he said. I was not sure if he was talking about matriculation, practice, or the facilities so vastly different from the swimming hole where he probably did most of his swimming at home. "Well, it's the first day of practice, so there is more awaiting us in the locker room," I told him and walked ahead of him to catch up with my buds from the previous year. I didn't want to seem too chummy with noobs. Most of them wouldn't be in the team within a month anyway. As luck would have it, his locker ended up being next to mine. I took my time changing because I knew the routine. Assistant Coach Mills would give the tired lecture about how partying and lack of sleep can ruin our performance. He would carry on boring everyone with his monotone speech pattern. He would then hand out clipboards with paperwork that was filled out for us to sign and initial in a few places. It was a non-disclosure agreement. It contained several sections, but the one that was most emphasized contained clause after clause about not sharing anything that had to do with the coaches, their methods of training, their strategies, their behavior during and after hours. The agreement went on for perpetuity, but we were all very eager to sign it. If it wasn't because of Assistant Coach Mills' constantly smiling face, he would not come across so goofy. By the time he was finished, we would all be showered or at least changed into our street clothes. Most of us just liked to throw on sweats over our swim briefs, so it never took long. Then Coach Hunt would stop the rambling and take over. We had some decent times out there today, but they are not enough to get us to where we deserve to be. There's more hard work ahead, but for a first practice, I think you all deserve some credit, and you are all invited to the man's for some rest and relaxation if you are interested. You all know where it is, and if you don't, ask. I looked up at the ceiling, awaiting the question. I knew Ron would be asking, and he didn't disappoint. "What's a man's? Are you going?" he said as expected. "He calls it that because he lives in a mansion. Big house." "Yeah, I go whenever he invites us, but it's not for everyone," I said, trying to warn him that he might want to think about it twice. After all, he was new and from a not very progressive state. "Sounds interesting, but you sound like you are telling me not to go." "Why is that?" he asked, and once again this year, it would fall onto me to explain without hurting sensibilities. "What I mean is that around here everyone lives and lets live. If we don't like something, we just don't participate. Also, we don't judge if others do." I hoped that my answer would be enough. Then Ron said something that surprised me. "Hey, I may be from a small town, but it doesn't mean I'm not woke," he said. He seemed a bit offended by my answer, and it made me feel bad for jumping to conclusions. Still, I didn't know if he understood. He stood up from the wooden bench and hurled the strap of his bag over his shoulder, ready to walk away. I didn't mean to piss you off. Listen, if you want to go, you can ride with me. I got my car in the lot. I offered to make up for it. Now, that would be very nice of you, he said and extended his hand. We shook, making peace. The ride over was pleasant enough. Turned out that we liked a lot of the same music, so my playlist suited us just fine. The breeze running through our hair felt so good, and so did the afternoon sun rays. When we pulled up to the gate, I could see that Ron was not expecting the mansion to be what it was. It had been in Coach's family for generations. The weathered granite facade was all shades of gray like the hair on Coach's head. The spruce-lined driveway and lawns added an air of old money to the place. I couldn't blame Ron. I had a very similar reaction when I saw it for the first time a couple of years back. We got out of the car and made our way to the front door. We could tell some of the other guys were already there because I recognized their cars in the driveway. The doorbell rang melodic bell chords announcing our arrival. Simpson was Coach's butler and he opened the door to let us in. Good to see you again, sir. Welcome for the first time to you, he said to me and then Ron. I always found it so amusing that he spoke like he was from last century in some old castle in Europe or something like that. Thanks, Simpson. This is Ron. Is everyone here? I said. I assume everyone who is coming is already here, sir, he said, leading the way to a sitting room in the back of the house. The trip down the hall rivaled a walk through a museum with every surface done in rich woods, marble and high plaster ceilings. In the room was Coach over by the fireplace. Simpson led us to the bar where he served us some fruit-blended drinks. I can't be seen drinking this, Ron said to me in a very low voice. For the half hour or so, we stood there enjoying the sunset. The drinks were not bad, and we moved to the gazebo where we couldn't be seen when Bert decided to spark up a We all knew the risk, but it was early in the season and random tests were very rare that time of year. As we were making our way towards our spot by the pool, we noticed there was activity inside the house. We looked at each other and knew it was time to rejoin the party inside. The French doors were wide open. We stood there looking in. We saw Simpson close the door to the hallway and dim the lights in the room a tad. The scent of hormones filled the air. I looked at Ron to make sure he would be all right. He seemed very comfortable watching Coach Hunt and his moves. His eyes were wide open and filled with anticipation. Seth and Bert made their way to the bar where Simpson poured them another drink. Bert asked the butler to pump up the music playing from the speakers embedded in the walls. We followed suit and joined them by the bar where the comfortable stools afforded us a very good view. Coach was sitting shirtless on the couch between Mark and Beto.
Find other publications by Kreston Bach at reamstories.com/Kreston Bach.